Welcome to episode 230. Okay guys, I've wired up the car now except for the fan. The fan is not wired up, but everything else is wired up. And it doesn't start. So this of course is a concern. See, I got a now lit up engine start switch. That's all cool. See? It's got gas. It's not throwing any codes. That's the weird thing. It's not throwing any codes. But it won't start. It's got spark, I know that, but no starty. So I think the injectors are not firing. Unfortunately, this is exactly what was happening when I very first put the motor in the car, and it had some kind of a security lock, and we had to dig into the wiring harness to fix that. I don't want to have to do that again because it's a brand new wiring harness, but I may have to do that. So right now I'm waiting to contact the company that made the wiring harness to find out if there's anything I'm missing. Anyways, so that's where we're at. All right, my new lighter weight exhaust is on. It's only lighter because I have less bungs in it. The other one had 4 O2 sensor bungs in it, and this one only has 2. And I got a lot less welding going on right there at the junction of the manifold for the flange and the tube. So it is lighter. I don't know how much. I don't know. I didn't weigh them back to back. I guess I could because I do have them both. Not gonna bother. But anyways, one more job done. All right, so I got the radiator bolted in there. Honestly, don't like it. Don't like that front radiator. The whole thing, I know I put a lot of effort into it, and I bought a new hood and everything to do this, but I just don't like it. There it is. And I mean, E-mod is pushing the limits of the rules. I mean, the people that are winning are pushing the limits of the rules. They are exploiting the gray areas. It's what you got to do in order to be competitive in this class. You can't just, you have to push the limits, honestly. So I was trying to get a little more front downforce, and you would get that with a vent in the hood and air coming in the front and all that. But after talking to my aero guy and considering the weight of this and how much this radiator actually blocks, I mean, if you compared the downforce of a car with a car that has a normal grill opening, which air normally goes through the radiator and then just fills up the engine compartment and comes out the wheel wells, if you compare the aero of that car to a car that has this style of venting where it vents out the hood, yes, you gain a little bit of downforce. But in my case, I had no grill opening. I had no air filling up my traditional engine compartment area. And then venting out the wheel wells and all that. So I don't have a lift problem in the front end anyways. So this, what I was doing here, would only get me a tiny little gain in downforce. Just so small that I don't think it's worth the extra weight and effort of all of this. So I'm gonna ditch it. I mean, it's bothersome. I don't like it, but that's what it's gonna be. The other bit of disappointing news today is my wiring harness. So let me just go over this wiring harness deal. So my old wiring harness was modified by a company called enginewiring.com, and it was a stock wiring harness that was modified by them. And almost immediately after I put it in the car, well, it was immediately, because the car wouldn't start. When I very first put it together, the car wouldn't start. And it was, there was a broken wire inside the harness. So, like, I just got it back from them. And so once I reattached the wire and it started, it's fine. I've been running it that way ever since. But then this year, no, I guess last year, 2018 now, last year, I kept throwing a cam sensor code. This code would constantly pop up, cam sensor code. So I've replaced both sensors, like brand new sensors in there, and I'm still getting the code, and I know that the connectors are plugged in fully and all that stuff. So I just assumed I had another broken wire in the wiring harness, and I couldn't track it down. Like, I cut back a bunch of the wiring and I couldn't find it, but I assumed that it was in there somewhere. So I decided to buy another wiring harness. So this company, Swap Specialties, advertises they make custom Ecotech wiring harnesses. So on July 25th, I called them. I talked to the guy who builds the harnesses, and he said, yep, we're about 3 weeks out. We would have it for you in 3 weeks, which would give me enough time to get it in the car for nationals. So that was July. Well, July went by, I didn't get my harness. I started calling, where's my harness? Because 3 weeks had come and gone. And each time I called, I would get, yep, just finishing it up now, we're gonna ship it out Friday. And the Friday would come and I would still not get a tracking number. And so I called the next week, I'd get the same thing. And this went on week after week after week. So it was ordered in July 25th. I finally got it middle of October. So quite a bit longer than the 3 weeks that they had said. Anyways, now I had sent them an overhead picture of the car on July 26th that showed where all the components were. This is where my computer sits, this is where my MAF sensor is, this is where my, this is all everything is. And it was all labeled, everything was labeled in the picture. And I called them the day after that to confirm they got the picture. Yes, they got the picture, they were looking at it. Okay, great. Well, when I finally put the wiring harness on, the MAF sensor connector was 2 feet, 24 inches away from where the MAF sensor sits. And they didn't wire it for the clutch. I asked for the wire for the clutch to be wired in there, and they didn't do that either. And they didn't do a couple other things that I had asked for. And I sent them the email asking for this stuff, and called to confirm that they got my email. And yeah, didn't get all that stuff. Okay, so December 5th is when I contacted them about this MAF sensor cable problem. And that was a Wednesday, and Andy, the guy who builds the Ecotech harnesses, told me on Wednesday that he would ship it Friday and I would have it Monday. Well, Monday came and went, never arrived, and now I've been calling every week, asking where it is, and every time it's, yep, just finishing it up, we'll get it out there and by end of today, and we'll ship it out, and it's not happening. And so I just, what can I do? There's nothing I can do now. That harness cost me $666 US, and honestly I'm fucked. I can't do a chargeback on my credit card. They're not gonna give me my money back. If you look at their Yelp review, they have a Yelp review, somebody else reporting all the exact same problems that I am having, and they never got resolved. So I don't expect that they're going to get resolved with me either. So the car doesn't start, and I just don't know. I don't know what to do, because my only choice is to go back to the old wiring harness, which will not fit with how I've got everything located now. Like, I'd have to, it would just be so hard. And I've already cut parts off of that one, you know, like, this is not just plugging back a few sensors of the old wiring harness. The old harness, well, already I know there's something broken in it because of the cam sensor, but it's already been parts cut off of it for other things, so I just don't think that's an option. And buying a harness from another company, I mean, Custom Built Motors makes a wiring harness, but they only make a wiring harness for a different computer than what I use, so I would have to buy the whole, and it's way more money. It's way more money. So I just don't know what to do now. It's I don't know. Yeah, well, that's where I'm at. Not knowing what to do with the car. I guess I'll keep working on it, but if it's not running, it's not racing. So, I'm not sure. All right, later. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I did manage to get a fake grill made for the car. It's just, I got the Clecos holding it in now. And the hood is now held on with Zeus fasteners instead of the pins. So this will have to be fiberglassed over and fixed. But anyways, yep, that's looking pretty good. The car does look damn good. I'm really happy with that, but this wiring harness thing. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.